Hello and welcome. This is our intro video for IS7700, Information Systems Strategy and Policy. I'm Professor Dominic Thomas, and I am excited to get us started. So with that, we are looking at the syllabus here to get us going. And I want to point out that right off the bat, you've got a preferred communications method, so Microsoft Teams, and then you've got some faculty information. So if you haven't used Microsoft Teams before, that's what we're using in this class. We're using it because it is the industry standard for most information systems type work today. There are other tools like Slack, etc., but Teams is a very real tool that if you're not familiar with it, if it's your first time really getting used to presenting and using the structured tools, the data collection, etc., that are built into it, I want you to have a chance to do that before you get into a higher leadership role where you need to be good at it. For some of you, you already use it at work, so it'll be comfortable. You may see a few features that you're not familiar with, but the practice is good, and go ahead and use this code to get into it. So when I say that, what I mean is when you go over to Microsoft Teams, I'm in Teams here, and when you go to the Teams tab, you can hit Teams over here. You'll see there's a join or create team. You put that code in, then you hit join team. When you hit join team, you'll see this one show up with this icon. I generated this little picture actually on Dolly, the AI tool that's out there. It's kind of funny. If you look really close at this picture, I don't know if we can get it to show close, but when you do look at it closely, you'll see that it's not generated by a human because it's kind of weird up close. But that's how AI is at the moment. In any case, that helps you know where you are. So now you come into this IS7700 Microsoft team where you'll find the general channel. You'll find a channel for each of the case presentations, teams 1 through 5, and then there's an introduction channel. We'll come back to these in a minute. I just wanted to show you that they're there and that you have access to them. All right? So the next thing is that as you get started, please know I am on LinkedIn. I want you to be on LinkedIn. I want you to network with each other. It is important for you to use this opportunity to network while you are a student in the MSIS program. Your network is how you get jobs, it's how you get employees, it's how you can get information and find vendors and partners. It's important. LinkedIn is the home for networking for the professional world at the moment. And so if you don't have a good LinkedIn profile yet, you need to create one. And if you send me a link and I look at your profile and I see your URL has a bunch of junk on the end, you need to go into your profile and edit the public URL to get rid of that junk and make it clean. Notice mine is clean. It doesn't say dash and a bunch of random letters and numbers. So keep that in mind. That's a tool that you should be familiar with, and I encourage you to connect to me and to each other in the course. The course itself is about policy and governance, and it is designed to make you into a more effective leader, technology leader. That means that we're going to be doing things throughout the semester that practice that skill, develop the ideas. We have a textbook that gives you a comprehensive view of the field as it stands, and it is available online. You can get it as a reader there, you can get it as a download, you can order it as a print version, that's up to you, but here's the link in the syllabus. D2L, I think you should know D2L. When you click on this link for D2L, it's going to take you to log in to D2L, and you'll go through the two-factor authentication. I'm already logged in, so it takes me in there. You will find the very same picture that we saw earlier. There's a little excerpt of it that helps you know where you are. When you log in, I want you to note that I've got this little message here. Click content above to get started, okay? And I'm going to switch to student view so you'll see it'll look like what you're going to see. So I'll do that. So when you click into this thing, so click content to get started, that means click this. So you click the content tab and it takes you right to the overview, and there you can get your copy of the syllabus, and you can follow along with this video. So you can pause the video right now and then go get it if you want to follow along and take notes. But just know that this is where our course is. Now yours is not going to say the same thing at the top because it's before the semester begins. I am recording using the template for our course rather than the actual course, because the actual course doesn't exist yet. It will soon in D2L. But the template is what I generate the course off of. And it will look very similar. There might be a few tweaks, a few differences, but mostly it's going to look exactly the same. All right, so let's go back over to the syllabus and just take a quick look. You may or may not realize you get the full Office 365 suite. That's all of the typical Office programs. If you log in at office.com with your KSU email, you can click the Install Apps button, and it will allow you to put those apps onto your machine, as well as use them on your phone, etc. As an IS student, so you're also in an information systems program, you can go through here and go get additional tools like Microsoft Visio, Microsoft Project, etc. that we have a special agreement with Microsoft as a developer node, and you guys will get access to those, including operating systems and server softwares if you wanted to play with those. So just a little extra, that's optional. Microsoft Teams do go ahead and download the full client. So I'm using the full Microsoft Teams client. It operates in a browser. So in a pinch, you can use Microsoft Teams at this URL. However, it's weaker, it's less capable. It doesn't connect to your different tools like your peripherals, your camera, your audio as well. It doesn't share screen as well. So it's much better for you to go ahead and download the full application and install it. Nice thing is you can use it on multiple phones. In one meeting, you can share screen from one, and you can host the meeting on another, or use your phone and your computer at the same time if you want the audio on you, where you can walk around. There are a lot of powerful capabilities that most people don't experience, but they are there if you use the full client. So do be aware of that. You do need a full computer, and you do need a high-speed internet connection. This is an online asynchronous course, and so you need that in order to be effective. Just be aware of that expectation. The learning competencies are very carefully designed to get you from A to B and make you into that more effective strategic leader. You can read through these and see how they map to the pieces of our course. I'll leave that to you to do on your own. They are also embedded in D2L. Roughly speaking, though, you can see here the assessment and grading design of our course. So the course begins with the welcome quiz tied to this video. The welcome quiz gets you into knowledge of how the course is going to run. I want to make sure everybody is level set right at the beginning. It is also a demonstration of something you might consider doing with your teams at work. When you have teams today in an asynchronous distributed setting trying to do systems development work, you often have people coming on board who don't know what the project is. You shooting a video like this and embedding it into your team workplace site, whether it's in Microsoft Teams or in a tool like D2L or Jira or something else, is a big deal. And then having some kind of onboarding quiz is not unreasonable to make sure that people know. You might have new vendors coming on a project, etc. Similarly, self-introductions. Who are these different people on the project? People come and go from projects. You need a way for them to get to know each other. If they develop social capital, they are more likely to actually work with each other, share information, help when there's troubleshooting needed, because none of that is in their normal job duties. All of those add to the synergy that makes teams more effective. So if you can get that virtuous wheel going, these are two ways to do it. We're demoing it in the class itself, but it's something you have to practice also. So you're going to get practice. You're going to go into Microsoft Teams, and once you've joined the team, you'll go to the Introductions channel. You'll go over here and click Schedule a Meeting. You'll schedule your meeting, and you'll run it. You'll name it your name plus introduction, just like I did here. You can see my meeting listed here. Inside of the meeting, there's an option. I'm going to go ahead and click it. If I go in here, I would change this right here to be my name. So Dominic Thomas Introduction. For the moment, I'm not going to turn on the audio or the video because I'm already using them to record this video, and that could cause it to crash, and I don't want to do that. But once I have my meeting running, I'll go to the More button, and I have to choose Start Recording. So be aware that you have to do that. If you don't do that, you're going to be doing your introduction twice. And you probably don't want to do your introduction twice. So go ahead and make sure you do that, so that it's actually working. All right, I will go back over for a second. So that takes care of, these things are due in the first week. These first 3 things are in the first week. Because they were an 8-week class, because I need to be accurately getting people into their case teams, I also am demoing a tool here to you called TeamMaker. So these tools that enable more effective human resource facilitation or management, HRIS, these tools are starting to get to a place where you should be using them in the workplace. If you haven't experienced this kind of thing, then great. This is a great chance for it. This is a research-grounded tool that helps to ensure that people meet up on their dynamics to form teams. In this case, I'm going to optimize around a variety of skills plus schedule matchups so that the teams have more chance of being able to meet with each other to do their planning and work. That should ease your pain of coordination, but I just wanted you to be aware of that. All right, so you're going to get that. You'll see a little more about it below. Another element of our class, there are 6 entries. They're about a page each minimum. You can write more if you want. There are prompts in D2L. 2 of them are wide open. The first one is an intro. The last one is a wrap-up reflection. But these are reflection journals. Reflective learning is a way of driving learning and embedding it for long-term retention. Super important. The case presentation is our signature activity. It's our only group-based activity, team-based activity. It is a single item worth 25% of your total grade, so it's a significant amount of work. You'll see a little more lower in the syllabus here. But what I want to tell you about it is that it mirrors something that happens in industry. I spent a number of years working as a consultant. I worked with Deloitte, I worked with Bearing Point, I have worked independently, and currently as a faculty member, I am often building out different grant applications, etc. These things often are concluded in industry and in academia in less than 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks. And they're done on top of a full-time job. Serving as a member of one of these proposal teams is just expected as part of the work. You're in a very similar scenario here. Many of you are working, some of you are not, but many of you are working. You are doing other classes, and here you have a pitch that you need to make for a proposal. Essentially, you're going to be proposing to these case companies from our textbook a recommendation to enhance or start a new business line and a recommendation to spin off or get rid of something. You can add more recommendations, but you need at least one of each, a positive and a negative. And you got to justify it. You're going to justify it several different ways. We'll see more later. We'll use the CAPME tool again to do team evaluation. If you don't fill out your survey in a timely manner, you'll get a 0. If you fill it out in a timely manner, then I'll use the weights that everybody, your team and peers give you. You'll get a report here to get feedback, and it gives you behavioral anchors about how to manage, oversee, and improve teamwork, including for yourself, but also in teams you manage. So this tool is really cool in that manner. The final exam is just multiple choice. It's drawn from the test bank that comes with our textbook. There are little chapter by chapter optional practice quizzes built into D2L so you can get used to the types of questions, etc. But that's there just to let you know, and that's just to make sure you've got the vocabulary and the knowledge of the span of the industry to have those conversations around strategy and policy. And then finally, I'm expecting you to interact in teams. When people make their case presentation in their channels, I expect you to watch the video and then to read the comments others have made, to post comments or further information, other ideas, to reply, to react at least twice to every case, and then also to put in any other kinds of participation in teams, which means I have very clear expectations down below. You'll see as we go through the individual items of how many actions I should see when I pull the logs of interaction for Teams. Teams gives a pretty good insight view for who's been doing what and when, and that kind of data is something you as a manager need to be aware of. I'm going to be using it to make this evaluation. The welcome quiz, that's based on this video and the content in D2L in the syllabus. So there you are, you've begun. The self-introduction, there are some guidelines here. You'll see them in D2L as well. Same thing, here's the case team maker with CatMe. It will send you an email to get started, but I do want to point out that if you don't find the email, it got caught by your spam filter or something, you can also just click on this button. You can go over here. Your KSU email address is what I've put in for you already. You can click this reset or forgot password, and then that'll set your password for the first time. So that should get you started so that you can actually get that done and be on track. Be aware, you'll see in the syllabus we've got a schedule that there is a timeline there. I need that done in the first week because I'm right at the end of the first week. I want to make the case team so that the first case team has enough time to get going. Reflection journal, there are prompts in D2L. The team presentation, I mentioned earlier, there are several pieces to this. It is very structured. When you make a presentation to a strategic group, you've got to tell them why. Strategy is about what to do and what not to do. It is not operational efficiency. It is not just knowing the history of some company. You need to make a recommendation and justify it. And so here I have built it up into several pieces. One is you've got to know what is the recent technology. You're going to have 5 or more members of your team, so you can split this research up. 1 or 2 might work on this part. Look up patents. What kind of patents has this company filed? These are fairly large companies. They may not have filed anything, but you can do this search and see. Some of them definitely have, and those are indications of what their upcoming plans and projects are and where they've been investing in human resource. So with that, when you make your recommendations, you can fit it to that. You don't want to try to recommend something that doesn't fit with the direction of the company and its capabilities. Another one, similarly, is the financials. I want you to pull the financials on the company. Analyze them. What are they doing? What are they saying they're investing in? What are their major failures recently? These public companies will have to post that. We do have like Privco here. We have a private database. If you haven't used these private databases, now's the time. Companies like Deloitte and others spend millions of dollars a year giving their consultants access to these non-public, non-Googleable sources because they have insights that you cannot otherwise get. Practice, use these things. Learn how to use them. They're in our library. There are several different ones, and I've put some links up in D2L as well, but you can find them by clicking through this library guide and getting to them. Find the company, find the reports that are out there, and see what you can learn. But there's an economic argument you're making for your recommendations too. Is this market growing? How much? What kind of revenue? How long will it take to actualize, etc.? There's news and articles as well, and this is where you can use Google, but also we have some internal databases that are useful that I'd like to see you use, and then you're going to pivot that and present it. And finally, you got to find some people on your team who can come and network, because I want you to find direct information. Use LinkedIn, use personal connections. Try to get somebody internal to the company, interview them, find out what the climate is. The morale matters. If the innovation climate is poor, it's going to be difficult to get things going. Maybe one part of the development group's poor and one part's really excited and motivated right now. Can you figure that out? See what you can learn about the inside of the company, how things are going, and add that into your presentation. It makes it much more powerful to have a narrative from a real person. And so you'll see that, and then finally you're going to gather it all together to a Porter's 5 Forces analysis that's right there in the week 1 readings if you're not familiar with it, and you can find additional guidelines on that online. It is one of the most common powerful tools for discussing strategy in the business world, so if you don't know it, this is your chance to really get into it and practice it much more. and then come down, work through that piece, schedule your presentation in Teams, prepare, record it. If you forget to record, you're going to have to do it twice and get it right. If for some reason someone can't, you can schedule anytime you want. So if your team members decide 3 a.m. because you're all located in India, fine, 3 a.m. Eastern. But one member might actually be on the East Coast, and so for that person, if they can't make it at 3 a.m., maybe they can record it on a video. But I want every person to be on camera and speaking the whole time. Those ones who are on camera, they should be supporting. They can be nodding, making eye contact with the camera, and engaged. That makes a big difference when a team gives a pitch to an executive group, especially in an online setting where the eye contact really matters. So get used to that, practice, get your enunciation, get rid of the filler words. There's the team evaluation, similar thing as before, case responses, you can read about that. I've got other things in the syllabus about the classroom expectations. Feel free to go through that at your leisure. The policies, there are several there. And then finally, there's a detailed schedule. So as I mentioned before, these 3 things are all due by June 4th. I need them done by then. And you can then start looking at each other self-introduction wise. If you want to comment there, that'll count toward participation, etc. Any general questions you ask in the general channel in Teams. The Zara case team, I'm trying to have them set and launched by June 5th, so that they've got about 2 weeks. They need to present and record and have it in Teams in the Zara channel by the 18th. So June 5th, June 18th, 13 days. There should be plenty of time given the nature of this work in industry. But you can see here a detailed schedule that walks you through all the way to the 8 weeks and then the final, and that's the end. I put a little article in here just so you could see it. Real quick, I will walk us over. Once you get into the content section, note that in the start section here, it will tell you which topics you have visited. So every time you click on something, it'll put a check mark out to the side. Here's the welcome quiz. Here's the self-introduction that I've assigned you, and here's my introduction. I put a direct link to it in D2L, but you can also see it in Teams. And then it tells you how to get started. There are some other things here about online learning and other services. I just put that there for you in case you're interested in seeing it, so that you can have it when you need it. About the case presentations, that assignment is right here. So you can see the same stuff that's in the syllabus, but you also have those links to the databases at the library, and here's the library guide. And then this is where we get started. So here's a little bit, there are objectives for every piece of the course, and then you have this practice quiz I mentioned to you before. The practice quiz is for the textbook questions for the final exams, just for you to try out. It's optional. And then the other assignments. So that kind of walks you through week by week. When you get to something like this one, week 3, this is a spot where when you are in the Zara case group, you'll see all this. If you don't see the Zara case group here, the presentation, that's only for that team. So you notice down here that, well, you can't tell, but actually if I switch out of viewing as a professor, then it would show you that that only shows to that team. Otherwise, you'll have to go to Teams to see their presentation. Sometimes there's a little extra, like this documentary film from our film archive that I went ahead and put up there so that they have it when they need it. They can use that to help build out their case. With that, I think you have a pretty good overview of our entire course. You're starting with the syllabus and scrolling through and getting yourself into the self-introduction. You're doing the CATME Team Maker and doing the welcome quiz. I am very excited. This is a super important class. The content is important for you to become the leader that I hope you want to become. I want you to do it because eventually I want you to go out and lead the change that we need in the world. There's plenty of project failure and wasted technology investment happening all over the place right now, everywhere. And we need more effective leaders who can move the needle and make things work so that we're not wasting so much. And we're inventing the solutions that solve all these big problems that exist whether it's the opioid epidemic or access to healthcare, which I'm in this sort of domain with technology, or it could be supply chain and climate change kinds of issues. It could be just profit. You know, you might be in a company where you could pay yourself a bonus if you make things more effective. You could have better products that are strategic so that you don't go out of business. All of these kinds of things are where we're at with this course. And I look forward to spending the time with you, and have fun getting started. Take care.